Kathy.
Yes. New product.
New product, yay! All right, so we got two new posts, and they're very cool. And this one here is called the Danube, after the river Danube, as they
Correct.
say in Europe.
Correct.
And this one is the Thames?
The Thames.
The Thames?
The river Thames.
Thames, the Thames. So when you call in, ask for the Thames. And these two posts are these are for 90-degree vertical shelves, right?
Yes, straight up.
Straight up off of your sub counter, and very good looking. What's the finish on them?
This one has a flat black powder coat surface, and that one has a satin silver powder coat finish.
Okay, all right, and these are put together, very nicely done, created. The finish is excellent on them. This almost looks like our stainless steel. Is that what we're going after here?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I know that our stainless steel matches most of the metal surfaces in a kitchen. Is this also along that
Yes,
line?
it'll be a very close match as well.
Okay, and the black looks very nice also. What do we call these? These are, what are, they're posts, but is it a?
Yes, swirl posts.
It's the swirl post, the swirl posts.
Designer swirl posts.
So we've got a new line for y'all, and we are going to show you how the installation happens on these posts. On these particular posts, we have actually two mounting holes on the foot plate. We're going to show you how those are aligned and put in on your countertop for your installation on these beautiful brackets. So let's get on over to our installation. Do we have anything else to mention in this before we go over there and show?
One other quick thing
Yes.
is these posts have the largest mounting plate on them of all of our posts, and so that has been an answer to your suggestions that you wanted to be able to mount a larger shelf on the top. So now you can mount up to a 15-inch shelf.
Nice. So we're listening, guys. So we hear you. We're listening. We care about what you say. So keep those comments coming. Kathy, we are here at the skeleton, what we affectionately call our skeleton, to show the viewers how to install what the installation will look like underneath the counter. So what we have here is a simple skeleton made out of 2x4s, about countertop height, and we have a
Piece of MDF.
piece of MDF board on top. So this is obviously not your counter. And a very important point now would be that the holes should be drilled
Yes, by a professional.
by a professional. If you're
Once you decide on your placement, mark them.
right, and if you're unsure about how to drill granite, you definitely want to make sure that your installers drill that for you. But you will want to identify where the holes have to be.
Yes.
Now, the hole pattern on this particular post is standard. So each one of the posts will have the same hole placement. What you have to do is identify where you want those holes to be based upon where you want your post to be located on your countertop. So a couple of things to take into consideration there. This has a slight overhang. We've intentionally put it with the slight overhang. Kathy, would it be acceptable for you to install that out on the overhang?
Absolutely not.
No, it would be a no-no,
You don't
right?
ever want to put an elevated counter on an existing overhang.
And why is that?
It creates too much of a point load on the sub counter.
Yeah, and so you have no, even with your supports under here, these posts are carrying the weight of that countertop down onto your sub counter, and you'll want that to be behind your substructure where you have significant support going all the way across the surface of your counter. So we want to install it behind our fascia, behind our back of our cabinets, or behind our half wall,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then in terms of span, what are we looking at?
These are considered gusseted brackets, and so they can be spaced up to 30 inches apart.
Okay, so we placed them 30 inches apart. On your installation, you're going to want your installers, as we mentioned before, you're going to want your installers to drill out those holes after you've identified the location for them. We've identified our location, so I'm going to drill out the holes for this post. This one is already mounted. I'm going to drill out the holes on this other post, so that we can show you underneath what it looks like. My holes are identified, so it'll be a little bit harder on granite than that. So now that you got your holes drilled and you've got your countertop in place, what's going to happen is you're going to install your posts by placing them aligning the holes here, the countersunk holes, with the holes in your counter. And we have a bearing plate system, right, Kathy?
Yes.
So we have a bearing plate system that utilizes a 1/4-inch bolt on this and a nut, and a 3-inch round bearing plate. And this bearing plate is used for what purpose?
It's going to help disperse the weight.
So the purpose of the bearing plate is to disperse the weight of the force of this counter on top of your posts, to disperse it over a larger footprint instead of over just a small nut. All right? So if you'll come with me, I'm going to insert my screws or my bolts into the holes. Now, one thing to mention while we're doing this is that your hole size needs to be slightly larger than a 1/4 inch, since we're using 1/4 inch bolts. So a 0.26 inch hole or something like that, the stone is not going to be as forgiving as an MDF board. So keep that in mind as you're doing it. Now, here we are underneath our counter. You can see that the threads of our bolts are protruding through the counter here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip that bearing plate over the bolt and hand screw initially that into place. What you're going to want to do now is I've got these things hand tightened down, and if you have a power drill to do this, you can use a power drill. Be careful not to scar your post when you're doing it. I'm going to use a hand wrench here and a Allen wrench up on the top, and going to tighten. I'm going to tighten these. I'm going to tighten these bolts down. So that they're nice and snug and fit to the counter. Yeah, so there you go. So now that's nice and tightly on there and not going anywhere. All right, so we've tightened down our countertop posts. They are now in place. I got my bearing plates installed. That bearing plate is dispersing the weight of the countertop, giving me a better installation. So Kathy, these things are all set. They hold a lot of weight?
Yes, they do. They can hold up to 500 pounds.
Okay, per
bracket.
Per bracket, so 1,000 pounds total per pair.
Yes.
Be considerate of the countertop material that you're putting on top if you're going to be using a very heavy material.
15-inch deep countertop would be the largest that you want to use on these posts.
And so that's your total width would be 15 inches, is that right? Okay, so 15-inch serving counter is what you can use on top of these. Kathy, is there anything else that we need to consider in our installation?
Just to finish it off, you want to put a bead of silicone down the top of the mounting surface here and set your granite countertop or whatever solid surface you're using, and you're ready to go.
All right.
Here we are with our beautiful finished product.
Yes. So we have our sub counter below with our countertop brackets installed, the posts installed, supporting our granite up on top. Everything's nicely in place, sealed down, and looks beautiful. Kathy, I know after watching this video that people are going to want the Thames Definitely.
Not unless you learn how to pronounce it.
The Thames.
The Thames,
The
the
Thames.
River Thames.
They're gonna want the Thames. They're gonna want this bracket. How do you get a hold of them?
They are welcome to call us, 877-353-8899. Or if you're on this website watching the video, just click over to the Swirl Post product page.
All right. We thank you very much for watching this installation of our video, this video installation, and come back, see some other ones. We have new products coming out all the time, so make sure you keep an eye on us. Thank you very much. Have a good day.